Good morning. Welcome to...
We are very bright. Hold on.
Yeah. Welcome to Magick Monday, episode 3. I'm Davy.
And I am Tracy. I'm turning down this light just a second. Sorry.
There we go. That's better.
Is that...
We have a sideways comment.
Uh-oh.
Check your phone. Make sure we're not sideways.
Oh, no, it looks right.
Oh, okay.
Hold on a second. We may be sideways.
Good morning, Sarah. Welcome. We're just going to check our live stream to make sure we're not sideways. Cause
Once in a while, sometimes.
Because when someone joined, it came in sideways. So we're just making sure we look fine. All right, so it is Monday, April 27th, and this is the third episode of Magick Monday, which is our weekly podcast where we talk about the moon phase and nature-focused spiritual practice, and we talk about elements and animal wisdom and plant wisdom and mineral wisdom to help you start your week with some mindfulness and calm and inspiration and insight. Mm-hmm. And so thank you so much for joining us.
Jen and Sarah.
Jen is on too.
Hi.
And so maybe we should get started.
Yeah. All right. Let's start light our April candle, and we have different candles that we use for different each month. It's something that Davy got me for Christmas, and so we enjoy lighting the April candle. It's for renewal. You don't have to have a different candle, but if you do, purple is for renewal.
We're just going to take 3 deep breaths in through our nose and out through our mouth. So, Tracy, what are you grateful for today? Ow. That hurt.
All right, we're going to take a second to take what we're grateful for. Please share in the comments what you are grateful for. Gratitude always helps shift everything into joy. Even
if you're not watching this live, if you're watching the recording, go ahead and post your gratitude comments. Tracy and I will still read them, and it's good to just put that out into the universe.
I am grateful that my family, we're getting out a lot more into nature, making an effort to actually do that first thing in the morning. We've started doing a Saturday hike venture where we're going to explore different nature preserves. Don't burn the house down, please. So I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful for connection with family. We got to go celebrate my nephew's birthday. This over the weekend, we went and made a sign, and it was, even though we couldn't actually be with him, it was nice to do some sort of celebration. I am grateful that it's not currently raining, even though today is a water day.
I said Sonia's watching. Hi, Sonia.
Hi, Sonia.
Thanks for joining us. I am grateful for... I'm grateful that I got a lot of stuff ready to go in the garden. We worked on a retaining wall, building up a bit of a retaining wall to kind of, not a retaining wall, but a stepped garden. So my garden plan's coming together, and I've got a lot of plants that are ready to go. And I'm just waiting for the overnight temperatures to be at that right point that I can start putting stuff out in the ground. But I also scored some cheap perennials.
Hopefully you didn't squash them.
For my tea garden that I'm going to do, so...
I'm very grateful for that this year. Tea garden and herb garden. We've done herb gardens in the past, but we didn't have them outside, so it didn't work out a few years ago when we did it, so... Yeah,
so I've got a lot of... my focus this year is a lot of pollinator plants, but also herbs and teas, and I'm going to be doing a lot of herb crafting this year. I started getting into that last year, and I'm going to really deep dive this year into, crafting, both wild crafting, with herbs and that I harvest from around my environment, but also with stuff that I grow.
Mm-hmm. Sarah said that she's grateful for friends and family who made her son's birthday so special yesterday, and she's grateful for her growing plants. Her plants are growing great. Jen said, I'm grateful for a really fun dive in Lake Champlain on a beautiful day Saturday with my husband and friends of ours in a social distancing responsible way. Well, you guys are all wearing scuba gear anyways. We saw a pikefish and several crayfish. Lake life is still kind of sleepy, but we are starting to see some fish wake up. I would love to go diving someday with you guys.
Yeah.
First I have to learn how, but that's awesome.
Yeah, cool.
If anyone else has anything to share, we're going to keep going, but always we love seeing your gratitude, so definitely share in the comments.
All right, so we're gonna talk about the moon phase now. I've got the moon cards up here.
Let's see if we can.
So right now, Monday, we're in a waxing crescent moon. It's going to be moving into the sign of Cancer. So waxing crescents, and I believe I mentioned this last week.
Let's see. Yeah, this light's a
Might
little.
need to just angle it down a little bit.
A little off.
So waxing crescents, the waxing crescent moon kind of signals that glimmer of hope and expectation and excitement, that promise of good things to come as we start moving from that dark new moon into the full moon. It's the first step on that progression. Cancer is a sign that's associated with feelings and home and domestic life. So the thing that you might want to reflect on in the next couple days while we're in that waxing crescent in the sign of Cancer is just kind of, how you feel about your home life and what kind of things give you hope, and maybe even how you can bring a little hope and inspiration and a little fun and joy into your home, in your home life. By Thursday, we're going to be in a full-on first quarter moon in the sign of Leo. So first quarter moons represent that spring energy, and it's also a moon about balance. So balancing that light and that dark with, knowing that light is going to overtake the dark and increase. And so with that balance, it's really signaling for you to focus on what's going well in your life, what's going good, expressing gratitude. And the sign of Leo is associated with leadership and confidence. So really you need to take charge in creating your own happiness and pushing toward your goals and manifesting what you want in your life. And you have to have confidence. You have to embrace that lion-like confidence in your ability to achieve that. Don't wait for good things to happen. Don't wait for things in the world to turn around. You have to take responsibility and to make that happen, and even the courage to reach out and get help or whatever you need to make that happen. And then as we slide into the weekend, we are then in a waxing gibbous moon in the sign of Virgo. So the waxing gibbous moon is about refinement and endurance. You've gone a long way, and you're getting close to kind of like that fulfillment of what you want, but there's still more to do. And the sign of Virgo is associated with service, well-being, and sacrifice. And so as we get into the weekend, you might want to think about, taking care of yourself. Take some time this weekend for self-care as you progress through creating what you want in your life, especially if you're working really hard or you're working hard to balance, your home life and your work life. This week, take some time out for yourself. It's not selfish to do that. And sacrifice might be necessary too, as far as, thinking about that give and take. That's something to also, bring into that, the first quarter moon too, that balance of light and dark, is there, kind of that balancing both sides of an issue, the good and the bad, the light and the dark, maintain that focus as you go into the weekend as well. Just really quick, Friday is Beltane, and the moon sign is going to be firmly in the sign of Leo on Beltane. So if you celebrate Beltane, we're going to talk a little bit more about that when we move into the spring, when we talk about the season. But the moon energy is going to be more that leadership, confidence, Leo moon energy. So that is the weekly moon forecast for this week.
The next is the season energy.
Yeah, so obviously it's spring.
It's still spring.
And go ahead.
I was just noticing anything different. I'm trying to think about what has changed from last week in the spring. And the thing about the spring is that even though it's still spring, so much changes from early spring to late spring. We see a lot more leaves on the trees, a lot more green.
Yeah, the lawns are greening up, the trees are leafing out, starting to.
A lot more animals, not necessarily like insects and stuff like that, but more, we are starting to see some frogs, and we saw a butterfly the other day. So, it's starting to warm up enough to get some more of the live animals, the life in the animals.
Yeah, and as a gardener, you totally notice that point where the overnight temperatures start staying in the 40s, which is good for keeping plants outside, certain plants. Yeah, I definitely noticed this spring. I mean, we live right on the river, so we see that those kind of water changes, the water levels go up and down with the rains. So we had the period where it hadn't rained and the water had receded quite a bit, where we had these sandbars with sandpipers, out on those sandbars. And then yesterday we got a bunch of rain and the water's back up to where it was before. So it's kind of interesting noting those changes in the river. That's something we noticed when we were in Myrtle Beach too. It's just like, the ocean and the beach itself changes almost daily. You have little water inlets that form and disappear, and sand dunes that kind of form and disappear. So, that's a good way to kind of connect to your environment, especially in the spring when things almost change every day. It's just to take note of, take time each day to just kind of look at those changes and notice them.
Right.
Sarah says, birds are becoming more territorial. We have a chickadee trying to fend off his territory from his reflection in our back door. Yeah.
Yeah. I know that's we have a few birds.
We have a pair of starlings nesting in a half-dead maple.
Oh, we have
in
another
side yard.
Bird nesting on the green light outside our house.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if you saw that.
Probably a wren.
I just saw the black tail of it, but we have a bunch of, like Davy said, we live right on the river, so we live in a very nature-focused area, and so there's a bird that makes a nest on the light outside of our house. The nest has been there for a while, and I don't think a bird lasted there last year, but I don't know. But they're there today.
Any day we should see baby geese coming up onto the yard to feed, because we actually saw Saturday, we took a walk and we saw a pair of Canada geese with babies swimming behind them. So we know that ours that nest out by our house are going to start bringing babies up, and then probably in a couple weeks, like 4 families.
We had 8 families, because we had two groups that went in separate, but each one had. Or how did we have? Each one had three couples, so that would be six families. And so the 3 families would go together, but not all 6 of them together. But we had a lot of geese last year.
So I just want to talk briefly about Beltane. So Tracy and we've done this for a while, probably a year and a half, 2 years. We've kind of followed the Neo-Pagan Wheel of the Year. And so if you're familiar with that, there's 8 festivals that kind of mark equal points of the year. So there's the winter and summer solstice and the spring and fall equinox, but then there are these cross quarter days. So you have Imbolc that's February 1st, and Beltane that is May 1st. Generally it's celebrated May 1st. And so these are like the halfway points between the solstices and equinoxes. So Beltane is halfway between the spring equinox and the summer solstice. So Beltane is generally associated with spring and fertility, and however you celebrate it, if you celebrate it, you can incorporate those themes into your celebration. I mean, Tracy and I don't dance around a maypole or anything like that. I mean,
but we do like to
we
celebrate.
have a little more low key.
Right, we do like to celebrate. Oftentimes we'll bake bread because it's something that we could do as a family because we try and incorporate our son. So we try and incorporate some sort of like an activity. And baking bread seems to be the easiest, or baking something seems to be the easiest thing for our family. So we kind of incorporate the season of the year. And actually, I think we talked about, because we did a seeded bread. And so I think we were talking about doing
for in bulk.
Yeah. So we decided to do strawberry shortcake. I think because
right.
It's bread but we wanted the strawberries, the berries, because it's kind of like the berries coming to life.
Right, strawberries have that kind of fertility kind of symbolism around them too. And so for Beltane, what Tracy and I are going to do, we're just going to kind of celebrate.
Jen said I always thought a maypole.
It would be cool though. Yeah, I know. It would be too. I just we have these grand visions of what we love to do. And I don't know if you've ever seen the memes where there's what I picture my full moon ritual, and it's like a robe under the full moon and candles and all this beautiful ritual stuff. What I actually do, and it's like a guy laying in his bed with like a votive candle sitting on his chest, and it's like just with kids and the lockdown and all this stuff, it kind of puts a damper on what you can do. But what Tracy and I plan to do on Friday on Beltane is we're just going to have a low-key celebration where we just kind of honor the fertility and fecundity of nature. Even just being mindful of how nature is constantly producing abundantly, and just appreciating that, expressing gratitude for it.
Especially now, we're seeing a lot of more nature coming to life with humans kind of staying indoors and staying away. We're seeing a lot of, rare animals that are thought to be extinct that really are not extinct, and now more animals are coming out, and more native plants now that humans are not walking around and stuff like that. So this is definitely a year of growth and abundance for nature. And
celebrating fertility doesn't necessarily have to be about reproduction and having babies. It could just be about fertility of ideas, fertility of social goodwill, your garden, so there's a lot of ways that you can celebrate and be mindful of and be grateful for things that are abundant and fertile ideas and movements that maybe you can think about how you might pour some energy in to nurture that as we go deeper into the spring and into the summer season.
So next is the
weather.
I just couldn't think of the word. I'm like, it's water. So if you, we do have our little cups of water right here. If you have water.
It's rainy. That's why we're talking about water. So
it's raining.
It's raining today. Here. So we're gonna work with the element of water. That's gonna be a theme for this week for us.
So if you are doing this with us and you want to run and grab a little cup of water, you don't need a lot, just a little bit of sip. So we have our water here.
And the crystal we work with on water days is Amazonite.
And this piece reminds us of waterfall, which is why we chose it.
Yeah, we picked this up recently at the Capital Region Gem and Mineral Show like a month and a half ago.
Yeah.
So I'm going to talk a little bit more about Amazonite and how we work with it. Should we draw the...
Yeah.
So we're going to draw an oracle card from the Saltwater Oracle.
Oh,
Orca.
Communication. I should cover this. If you want to grade it, it's number 18, Davy.
Number 18, okay.
Yeah. So there's... I love these cards.
So it says, orcas symbolize the need for active communication and vocalization, and it is in its importance in regards to learning and teaching. Each orca pod will have its own unique language, which is known as a dialect. This is passed down to their young. When an orca appears, it is reminding us of the importance of language and dialogue. It is imperative that we are allowed to voice our feelings and share our journey with those around us. The orca reminds us of the therapeutic benefits of talking and expressing ourselves, whether it be through words, body language, writing, singing, dancing, or any of the other ways we can use our voices and our bodies to communicate emotions and feelings with those around us.
Jen said it's snowing. So, what do you have for snow? I think snow and rain are the same element.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Still an element of water. So yeah, Orca. It's the water wisdom this week, or this for this week is communication.
And so we're gonna focus.
Cheers.
Cheers. Drink as you drink a water. If you have the water as you drink it, just focusing on how you plan on communicating this week. Communicating your voice, what you want from your spouse, your children, possibly your boss. Just voicing your. What are you looking for?
Oh no, I was just thinking like throat chakra. If you work with chakras, you can just imagine the water, activating your throat chakra, working with a blue crystal, which is also throat chakra color. All right. So while I have the Amazonite in my hand, I'm going to talk about Amazonite a little bit. So Amazonite is a stone of truth and courage, and it's pretty cool that we got the Orca for truth and courage, or with Amazonite, because communication is part of that truth and courage. You need to have the courage to communicate and to express your truth and to look at and evaluate the truth. Amazonite is a very calming and balancing stone, as most blue stones are. So that's definitely something that I find water kind of a calming, soothing. That's why we have these water fountains and little waterfalls, and people love waterfalls or being by the water. So water is very calming as well, and that could also indicate this week that with your communication, bring some calm with that. I know it's easy for tensions to flare when we're all locked down or frustrated or around the same people day in and day out, but it's Amazonite and the Orca could be calling for the wisdom in those in that combination. The crystal and the card could be calling for more taking more of a calm approach to
the way you
communicating
others.
This week.
Right.
So let's do an animal wisdom card.
Jen said, so I think communication is really important right now as people are isolated and cut off from others. Keeping in touch with family, friends, checking in with others to see how they're doing, but it's also a good time for journaling and other forms of writing and to creative expression as we have time for ourselves and to ourselves in reflection. And I agree. I think that's staying in touch with people right now is very, very important.
But also, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Oh, but also like the self-communication, staying in touch with yourself as well, and maintaining that line of communication with yourself.
And that is very important, because right now we tend to it's very easy to not, to kind of retreat and not vocalize what you need or spend time with family and friends. It's easy just to kind of not connect. And I know it's something that I've been working on is having Zoom dates with my friends and family in the morning during the weekdays, because connection with them is very important.
Should we do an animal card or plant
card? Do you
card?
shuffle these?
Yes.
All right. Do you want to do animal or plant? I like animal, but...
Yeah, the animal deck's right there.
Okay, well, threw me for a loop.
Oh, what do we have?
Black Jaguar.
Black Jaguar.
Whole soul. Walk through life with confidence and grace. You have power from beyond the world. focus on what you really want and create your dream. I think that is definitely focusing on what we've been talking about. I'll show this to you
What's
guys.
the keyword on that? Old soul. Okay.
Old soul.
So it's interesting getting the Black Jaguar because, we're going to be in the sign of Leo from Wednesday into Saturday. So, no, it's not a lion, but it has a very similar energy to it.
Mm-hmm. Did you want to?
Walk through life with confidence and grace. Oh, you already read this.
I did.
Yeah, focus on what you really want. You can create your dreams. And this is, a really good animal to think about in conjunction with the lion when we are in the sign of Leo and that first quarter moon, and then, moving into that waxing moon. All right, let's move on to plant wisdom. And I'm pulling one of the Soulflower cards. Black-Eyed Susan. Rudbeckia. So the keyword is recognition. This is one of my favorite pollinator plants, too.
Oddly enough, it's the only flower I'm allergic to.
Tracy's allergic to. Sometimes it is easier to bury hurt feelings and difficult emotions. Black-Eyed Susan gently helps you to wake up and recognize all aspects of yourself, even the ones you deem ugly or unworthy. Even your deepest, darkest truths need to be shown the light of love and honored as part of your human experience.
Yeah, I think that's something that's really, really something that I'm working on too, because there's a lot of things that I just don't want to, in the past that I'm like, I just don't want to deal with. And you, like you said, you tend to just bury them down and focus on the happiness, but you'll never move forward truly if you don't handle, make peace with your past, whatever those are. And this is the same theme with the communication is sort of making peace with yourself, possibly making peace with someone in the past or whatever. It's that sort of communicating the needs that you have. It kind of flows together.
Yeah, Black-Eyed Susan is a great first quarter moon card too, because it has that combination of the bright yellow with the dark center, and that kind of focusing on, what this card just said is very much, the keyword's recognition, but it's very much about, not shying away from that dark half, balancing that dark and light and acknowledging the presence of both of those in your life and as part of yourself. So I would say it's a very apt card.
Did you already shovel those?
I did.
Okay. Shovel them earlier, it makes it go a little faster.
I know, otherwise we'd spend half this shuffling all these all these decks. So we have the Five of Wands.
I'm going to bring that little small card.
And I feel like we had the Five of Wands either a couple weeks ago or during our Magic Morning.
Yeah. We had this during the Magic Morning. This is
Right.
also the stupid 10. It's a card of confusion.
Yeah, I always chuckle every time I get the card because I think of that tarot meme with the stupid tent card. So Five of Wands is very much about scattered energy.
Yep.
Having just a lot of things up in the air and not like the juggling that we see in the Two of Pentacles, but more of just a lot of different personalities clashing, a lot of different desires, needs, wants, and nothing is really being unified. And so people are just kind of clashing and there's disharmony. So,
and that's definitely a situation that's happening right now.
Yeah, I mean, watch out for that this week. Not only just, with personal relationships and with friends, but also with your beliefs and thoughts about what's going on in your life and the world at large. It doesn't really do any good to be to have disharmony within yourself over things that are happening that are beyond your control. Ultimately, we control our own feelings and emotions. We can control our own feelings and emotions and how we react to things. And so, I think embracing the communication of the Orca and the confidence and power of the Jaguar, as well as the Leo energy of the lion, and just acknowledging that, looking at both sides of the issue, the light and the dark, and taking the wisdom of the black-eyed Susan, I think is a good approach for this week.
Mm-hmm. So that's definitely an appropriate card for her right now.
It's hard not to be in lockdown and not feel like you're having a Five of Wands day.
And,
every day.
Unless you live alone by yourself, and then you're probably
and you're the
crazy.
hermit. But even then, even being by yourself,
right,
you might not have that disharmony of other people and trying to
balance everyone's energy together.
But you might have energy that needs to be balanced as well. So the card can apply to everyone. The Five of Wands doesn't necessarily literally mean, 5 different people clashing. It could mean just, different ideas and,
Unless anyone has, Jen said no kidding, she said the card could represent the entire reason.
It's a card of 2020.
So far, yeah.
If I was to pull tarot cards for the year 2020, it would be Five of Wands, the Tower, the Hermit, and, what else? I don't know. 10 of Swords, maybe. Or not 10 of Swords, 8 of Swords. Is this 8 of Swords, the woman with the blindfolded trapped with the swords around her?
I think that's the 8, because it's the 10, the one where she's...
The 10 is like 10 swords in the back, right?
Okay.
All right, so we're going to wrap this up now. Tracy's going to
do the prayer.
Read the Reiki prayer.
Again, this is not the Reiki prayer. It is the positive version of the Reiki prayer. It's the one that I learned when I did my Reiki. So it just helps to balance and focus and bring peace. It's something that you can say multiple times if you want. You can say it once. I did post it in the group. If you just search for Reiki prayer, you'll find it. So, for all of today, I will love. For all of today, I will trust. For all of today, I will be true to myself and others. For all of today, I will give thanks for my many blessings. For all of today, I will be kind to my neighbor and every living thing. Blow out the candle.
Ring the bowl first, and we'll do 3 deep breaths, and then we'll blow out the candle. So again, 3 deep breaths, in through the nose, out through the mouth. And I will take a picture of these cards so that you can refer to them. I'll post them in the comments of this video. And I would recommend this week, what I'd like to do is take these cards and journal on them. So you can either, just pick a random card each day and just kind of journal based on the keyword, the image, whatever intuitively comes to mind. Or you can kind of try to match them up with what's going on with the moon phase if you're following it. So, Black-Eyed Susan for the first quarter moon on Thursday. And, the moon's in the sign of Leo, working with this card here. Right now we're in the sign of Cancer, which is a water sign. So that'd be a good one to
work on today.
Journal on communication and just kind of working with that water element, that water energy.
All right.
So thank you again so much for joining us. Whether you're watching this live or you're watching this the replay, feel free to comment what you're grateful for, and we hope you
have any other comments on the video.
Yeah, we hope you enjoy this podcast. We're doing this for us, but we're also doing it for you, and so we appreciate some feedback, and let us know what you think. Is there anything that you want us to cover or talk a little bit more about? And we'd like to hear about it.
All right. Have a good one, and thank you for joining.
Yep. Have a great week. We'll see you next Monday at 10 o'clock Eastern.